Good morning. Good morning, Blackfire. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, Oblivion. Fastest click in the East. I like that. Good morning, Komodo Swag Dragon. Good morning, Command Bar. Good to see you guys. Hope you're doing well. We're here. We're back. Which OS do you use? I use Windows 11. Yep, I'm one of those Windows 11 people. I'm sure somebody's going to ask why not Linux, because that's all. That's always the next question that follows this question. No, yeah, I use Windows 11. I'm vanilla. Let's see. Oh, I know what I need to do. Good morning, Omanian. Good morning, Danny. How are you guys doing? By the way, the OS that I made will be ported to Rust. Oh, nice. Very cool. Sounds like a big lift, but sounds like you're going to have a lot of fun in the process. Nice, man. How did you make it look like this? You probably don't recognize that it's Windows 11 because I just have the bottom taskbar like cropped out of the screen. That's probably that's probably why you don't recognize it. I just do that to kind of maximize screen real estate. That's probably why it looks different. One day you will join the dark side. I'm definitely gonna have a Linux arc. That is 100% for sure. When that's gonna happen, I don't know, but it's definitely gonna happen at some point. Let's see, all these TUIs, how did you get that? Let's see, this one is an application called Bottom. It's kind of like a process or like almost like a TUI, but like a task manager application, but in the terminal, which is pretty cool. So if you just actually if you type Bottom in the chat, so exclamation point BTM, you can get the link where you can download this. This right here is NeoVim, so nothing fancy there. It's just NeoVim running in PowerShell. This is LazyGit. I don't know if you've heard of that. LazyGit, LazyGit. They're just applications that other people built that I installed and set up. So nothing I did. You know what I mean? Like I'm just using other people's wonderful inventions. You know. Oh, sorry. Exclamation point Bottom. Here, I can do it for you. Like this. Whoops. Would help if I could spell. There you go, Scorps Ops. There you go. There's the link. It's a pretty cool application. I've been using it basically everywhere because it's cross-platform. So it works on Mac, it works on Linux, works on Windows. So you can pretty much take it with you wherever you go. It's kind of a play on words because in the Linux world, right, they have what is it, BTOP, I think, and HTOP. There's like a few different applications like that. So I think it was kind of a play on words where it was like, oh, I know, I'll make a cross-platform one and call it Bottom. Okay, thanks. I'll also start. Was waiting for your stream to start. I'm doing scheduling algorithms today. Nice, very cool. Well, feel free to hang out and get some coffee and just vibe out, man. That's what I'm gonna do. First, I gotta update all my members list stuff. Nice. All right, you guys are going to disappear for like half a second. Half a second. 1 sec. Or I guess I'm going to disappear for half a second. I always say you guys are going to disappear. There you go. I hadn't updated those lists in a little while. Danny, take a look at NixOS. It seems interesting. So it does seem interesting. That's funny you mentioned that. I've been following this content creator. Her name's Bash Bunny. And I've been following her streams for the last couple of weeks. And she's been talking a lot about NixOS. And it seems pretty interesting. It seems like it's kind of a way to encapsulate all the dependencies that you would need on a machine. Am I understanding this correctly? I like the idea of it. Yeah. I'm not sure I totally understand, but like that's what it sounded like. And so yeah, that sounds very interesting. They call them flakes. Is that right? They call them flakes. Bash Bunny. Bash Bunny. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of her before, but she's a pretty cool content creator.
Did we just become best friends?
Ilmanian, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you, man. She's a pretty cool content creator. Her vibe, I like her vibe. She's got some cool streams where she like just hangs out and codes. But I think she uses NixOS or is trying to use NixOS or something. I'm not really 100% certain because half the time I'm like sort of listening to what she's doing and then just other times just enjoying the vibes. But she's good. Always wasted. Random question, but do you play video games? I do play video games. I haven't been playing very much lately. I'd like to play more. I mostly play first-person shooters, so like think of like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Fortnite. I guess Fortnite's a third-person shooter, but things like that. And usually I'll play like whatever my kids want me to play. I'll do that quite a bit. Blackfire, good luck. Good luck with what? Good luck with NixOS? Why is it hard? Is it complicated? All right, I think we're all done with the housekeeping stuff. The finals. Do you play the finals? I have never played the finals. I watch one of my favorite streamers is Tim the Tatman, and I watched him play the finals a little bit. But other than that, it's amazing, huh? Just got to give it a try. All right, I'll add it to the list. We're all waiting for Steven's Linux phase. If it's going to be NixOS, things are going to get spicy. Really? Interesting. I don't know if I'll start there, but it sounded like kind of an interesting idea. I think if I ever switch to Linux or like ever have a Linux computer, I'll probably start with DH.
I'd like to say something.
It's turned demonic. It didn't even say the part that was good, which was this is a test. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. I tell you, text to speech, it brings out the child in all of us. I've told you guys this. It just died. Yeah, it basically just died. Yeah. Oh, Marchie. Yeah, it's Stefanos. That's what I'm thinking of. DHH's little creation. It looks very nice. Like the aesthetics of it look very pleasing. Counter-Strike, the best FPS ever made. It's kind of ruined now. I don't know. I still personally really like Call of Duty a lot. I never played Counter-Strike. My son really likes Rainbow Six Siege. He plays Rainbow Six Siege quite a bit. I just think the movement's too slow, in my opinion. think I might have missed some previous messages. Hold on, let me make sure. There we go, Windows 11 File Explorer. Yeah, there you go. Let's see, I'm going to try finding some glitch to make more channel points. Oh, no. Yeah, I think got everybody. Hey, what's up, Ulas? Good to see you. Blackfire Demons, am I right? It did sound like Demons, where it sounded like some hardcore death metal band playing music. That's what it sounded like. Ulas, nice haircut. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, this is a couple weeks old, too, now. Yeah, but it's always nice when you get the hair, when you get the shaggy haircut. How light is Omarch, you guys? I have a Celeron that is currently running Arch with XFCE. I don't actually know. I know it's based on top of Arch. Like, Arch is the underlying distribution, but I don't know how heavy. Omarchi is for real truly the best. For now, it's like using Windows. Oh, interesting. Cool. We'll have to give that a try. I really like the aesthetics of it. Ulas, are you using Go in this project? No, I'm just using C#. I'll probably use some TypeScript at some point too, but right now I'm just using C#. Good morning, Artwork Studios. Good to see you. After so long, I finished 5 pages of The Punishment out of 10. I've been writing for a day. Dude, I don't envy you. That sucks, man. You need to have an LLM finish that for you. Should we start greeting Steven with nice haircut? You can if you want. You guys can greet me however you want. Although I am free to eject you from the stream if I don't care for your greeting. So, Omarchi and Pop! OS is probably one of the best looking distros in my opinion so far. Haven't explored much distros, so I might change my mind. I've only used one. The only one I've used is Ubuntu. So I'm not the right person to give opinions on any of this. I use Omarchi on my old PC. I like the keyboard navigation, want to put it on my daily driver, but hesitant to back up my data, and also DaVinci Resolve. That's fair. There's another YouTuber named Gavin Freeborn who uses Emacs. You guys could be rivals or arch enemies. Is there really? Hold on. There's another person on YouTube with the last name Freeborn? We need to look this up. I think my keyboard just died. No. Dang it. One sec. Technical difficulties. Ubuntu's GNOME is ugly. Yeah, Ubuntu is kind of ugly visually. I think it makes sense though for Omachi. I think that's how you say it, Omachi. I think it makes sense for Omachi to look so pretty because I think DHH came from Mac, right? And Mac has always been super pretty. So it makes sense that he would try to find an aesthetic that was super pleasing to the eye. Which, based on all the videos I've seen, they have definitely succeeded at that. Oh, Archie? Oh, Archie? Really? I'm pretty sure it's... Hold on, are you sure? I feel like the way he said it sounds different than that. I feel like when I was listening to their podcast yesterday, it was like...
Welcome to Rework, a podcast by 37 Signals about the better way to work and run your business, all with creative and unique names. I thought we'd talk a little. Welcome to Rework, a podcast by 37 Signals about
Why
the
is that so loud? I just want to scrub through here. Is there like a transcript? Dude, look, working in small windows is awful. Let's see. Oh yeah, here you go, transcript. When does this happen? 60/20.
Had this fun idea that since you couldn't get, or we couldn't get boxcar.com, we could get box-car.com. And there's an even greater conceptual, like little train links between the carriages here. They're linked together, and it just became, I think, for me, all the pay.
Have you ever had a dream that you had your you could do so. You could.
This is one of my favorite TikTok sounds.
You want him to do you so much you could do anything.
You know what, Blackfire? I have had a dream like that.
Payoff was in the cleverness and on the high-minded conceptualism, and Fizzy was just like a very more lowbrow. It just sounds fun. It just sounds nice.
Zang404 is telling you to drink some coffee.
To it. And a lot of the names that I've come up with in open source are very similar in many ways. Omachi, for example, is
Omachi.
Because
it's like Omachi. He like almost like he omits part of the word Omachi.
As first of all, the way I pronounce it is not how most people read it. Right. First of all, I like just cut off the R. Where does that go when I say Omachi? Like
Omachi. He's like he completely says it different than it looks. Oh, that's hilarious. Just making up our own words over here. TikTok, that's from 1999. Is it really? Oh wow. I didn't know that. It's from the Japanese, I think. I have no idea, honestly. I think Omachi. Sorry, I'm gonna keep saying Omachi. Omachi is isn't it a combination of Arch and the original thing he did, Omakaz or Oma? There was some other thing he did before this, and I think he just smashed them all together. See Our Studios. Let's see. It's pleasing in all ways, I guess. What if you have two GPUs? You can use a Windows VM with a dedicated GPU in it, and we can play basic anti-cheat games like Valorant. Everything works. Nice. The name Ubuntu kind of sounds like trash too. Yeah, I'm not sure Ubuntu's is where it's at, but that's the only thing I've tried it to date. Did Steven just sing? It's possible. Time to plug USB. It is time to plug USB. To be honest, with so many YouTubers, I wouldn't be surprised to find at least another 3 freeborns. Really? You think so? Oh, that's what we were going to do. We were going to look at, we were going to try to find that other YouTuber. The other YouTuber is named Gavin Freeborn. I wonder if we're related. Gavin Freeborn. Oh, wow. There is. That's crazy. Huh. I wonder what his story is. University of Victoria. He must be Canadian. Isn't that in Canada? Oh yeah, Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Huh. Very interesting. Oh, here's his GitHub. That's crazy. But he's an Emacs user, huh? An Emacs guy. Looks like he hasn't made any videos in a while. Or really streamed or anything in a while. He must have got a job. Must be busy doing actual work. Well, that's cool. Whoever pointed that out, thanks for pointing that out. That's pretty interesting. It would be kind of crazy to find out that we were related. Gonna try the TUIs you showed on Windows. Nice to talk with you. Of course, dude. Yeah. Have some fun with them. You know? Have some fun. I've got some giant commits from yesterday to make. Found. So Amarchi's name came from the distro that it was based upon called Okamase. I don't know how to say that word. I'm so bad at other languages. So the name supposedly comes from whatever you will arch, since omakase is what is said for entrusting choice to another. Well, that's kind of cool. Yeah, he talked about in that podcast episode. He talked about it having something to do with chef's choice, something to do with like when you walk into a restaurant somewhere. I think in Japan or in some other country that word refers to having somebody else select things for you, right? That's I guess the whole idea behind the chef's menu. All right. Time to organize these commits. Let's see. The guy who created Lo-Fi Generator is in the same city as me. Oh, really? That's cool. Very cool. Yeah, man, I would love that guy. I need to buy that guy a dinner or coffee or something. I've used his website so freaking much. It's actually kind of unbelievable how much I've used it. Chef's choice, yeah. Bye bye link. It did, man. Twitch and YouTube are very, what's the word? They are very anti-link. But to be fair, that's probably a good thing, right? Probably a good default. All right, what's next? Let's see. Let's add. I mean, I did so much coding yesterday. It's a good day. I should have just committed more while I was actually going along. All right, cool. So we got all that done now. Let's see, where are we at now? So we have our password verification happening here. And I think now what we need to do is we need to get into the actual issuing of the access and refresh token. Or actually, we need to issue the access token. We also need to store a refresh token. And I don't think I currently have any of the necessary packages to actually do that. Yeah, so I think we'll have to go get those. Alright, let's do that. I'm pretty sure you just left it to block links. Many streamers leave links available. Oh, cool. So that's a setting that you can do on Twitch? Can you do the same thing on YouTube? Does anybody know if you can let links through on? Let's see. Twitch allow links. Let's see. To allow links in chat, you must manage your channel's moderation settings and chatbot filters, either by disabling link blocking or adding trusted URLs. What do you guys think? Do you guys on Twitch want links to be allowed? Like, do you guys feel like comfortable with people sharing links and you click like? I guess the biggest thing is just like if a bad actor got into chat and wanted to like kind of try to do bad stuff, I guess that wouldn't be good. But if you guys want that, you know, with great power comes great responsibility type of thing. Let's see, settings. Show all advanced. I don't think that's the right thing. How do you... Oh, that's kind of cool. Does this really work? Permit username command to temporarily allow. Let's see. If you'd like to allow individual URLs in your chat while still blocking hyperlinks, in general, you can add them. I'm so new to the whole Twitch side of this stuff. Oh, I also forgot to say that I'm live on Blue Sky. All right, what do you have to do? Let's see. Wait, is YouTube still connected? I think YouTube might have disconnected. Hold on one sec. Hello, KX Edits. Good to see you. Or KXK Edits, I should say. There we go. We're back. There we go. We're back. We're back. We're back. All right, what was I doing? Oh, I was trying to turn on links in Twitch. So how do I do that? Show all advanced settings. Chatters must have verified email. Your channel's chat will automatically delete posted URLs except for ones posted by you, moderators, admins, and VIPs. What are you coding about? I'm currently working on a application for managing my personal finances. So I'm currently building a tool that will help me be able to track my net worth and also categorize and track all the transactions for all my different bank accounts. And right now, in particular, what I'm working on is the login for that app, the authentication for that app. H2, been watching for a few weeks, graduated with a CS degree, but went down a different career path, trying to make the switch back. Any project/resources you recommend to get closer to employable? Nothing very specific comes to mind. I've always told people that if I was in a position where I was looking for a job, what I would probably do is I would do a little bit of research and try to figure out what companies I want to work for, or what companies are hiring near me. Like, for example, Garmin's headquarters is like right up the road from me. So like I would probably figure out like who are the big employers, right? And like what are their tech stacks? Then I would go build projects in there using their technologies. And I think that would be a good way to have something to talk about whenever you do get an interview or have the opportunity to interview. You have a project that kind of speaks to directly to probably what they're doing there. And the way I would figure out what their technology stack is I would just use their job descriptions. Like I would just see like what tech stacks are they looking to hire for and go from there. It's surprising to me that you got a CS degree but didn't actually go to work in the field. What's the story behind that? That's pretty interesting. KX said, "Oh, cool. You a freelancer?" No, I'm not a freelancer. I work a 40-hour job full time employment. You can actually type !LinkedIn in the chat if you want to go connect with me on LinkedIn. You can also just use LinkedIn to creep on all my professional history if you'd like to. Totally cool. NG Tontai. Is C# forever? Yes, C# forever indeed. Yeah, for sure, HTube. I don't know if that was helpful at all, but hopefully it gets you pointed in the right direction. Gives you some ideas. I mean, if you already have a CS degree, like your heads and tails above where most people are that are out there looking for programming jobs. Danny, I think I need to learn TypeScript in a shallow manner for just to know and use React and Next. Any resources? Ooh, learning TypeScript. Let's see. I would probably point you at Matt Pocock's content. I don't know if you've heard of him. He has a course called, what's it called? It's something like TypeScript Wizard or something like that. H2 was definitely helpful. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Let's see. TypeScript Wizard. Total TypeScript. That's what it is. Yeah, I would probably look at this. Maybe he's got a lot of free information here on this website. He does have a paid course. But he really does know his stuff. He also has a book.
Did we just become best friends?
Name I Shy. Thank you very much for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate you. Yeah, this is where I would probably start, Danny. Something like this. Or I'm sure there's got to be YouTube courses out there too. Like I'm sure there's like a Web Dev Simplified. You might check out his YouTube channel, Web Dev Simplified. I didn't really learn TypeScript from anybody. I just started writing TypeScript and kind of figured it out as I went. But I think I was able to do that pretty easily because I was coming from a C# background, right? So like I knew JavaScript and I already knew C#. And so the whole idea of static typing came very, very naturally, I guess, to me, or made a lot of sense to me. Even like generics, right? C# already has a very, very deep generics type system, so that was pretty second nature. Let's see, TypeScript. Yeah, there you go. He has a whole TypeScript beginner TypeScript project. So yeah, I might go look at Kyle's YouTube channel, Web Dev Simplified's YouTube channel, or Total TypeScript. That's probably where I would go if it was me. Yeah, of course, Danny. Yeah. What all scripting language do you know or proficient on? Like I guess when you say scripting languages, are you saying like Bash, PowerShell, right? Like what falls into scripting for you? Let's see. What's your story of getting into dev, Steven? So my story of getting into just tech in general is I was originally a food scientist. I did that for about 6-7 years. And then right around 2020, well, actually, I had made the decision that I wanted to change careers in like 2018. But I really didn't take action on it or really have an opportunity until kind of the middle of 2020. I started interviewing, and lucky enough for me, there was a company that my father-in-law was already working at, and he recommended I apply for one of their open positions, and so I applied, and it was as a support analyst, so it was a very like low-level entry role compared to the job and the profession that I was working in previously. But I knew that I wanted to do something different, but more than importantly, I just knew that I wanted a job that had more like standard business hours and wasn't as crazy or as demanding on my time because I had 2 little kids at the time. And so lucky enough, I got an interview, got the job there, and then while I've been at the company, just slowly kind of, what's the word? Upskilled, I guess is the word, upskilled myself over time and been willing to take on whatever technical projects I could take on to kind of prove that I had technical chops. And here we are. That's my story. I also made a longer video about this on my YouTube channel called How I Learned to Code, which kind of goes more into the backstory of all this. Let's see if I can find it. So if you want to sit and actually listen to the full story, you're welcome to go watch that video. I think it's How I Learned to Code. Yeah, this one. I'll link it in case anyone's interested. It's like a story time. A story time video. Let's see, that was on YouTube, wasn't it? Yeah. Learn X and Y minutes. Don't. Come on. Yeah. I don't know. I really like Web Dev Simplified. I think he seems like a really nice regular guy. I think he's based in Nebraska. Joyper, how to get experience if I can't get a dev job? I think my game plan would be similar to what I did, which is try to get your foot in the door and then try to look for as many opportunities to kind of prove that you can do programming, coding, development, software. Like, look for ways to demonstrate that in your existing place of work, right? Or existing within maybe your existing scope of work, if you can. And then I think it helps a lot to build relationships, right? Once you're in the door, it helps a lot to build relationships with developers or people who are on that side of the house, right? Because I don't think necessarily you're always going to be able to necessarily get professional experience before you get that first opportunity, right? Sometimes you just kind of have to take the opportunity you can get and then hopefully prove to other people that you're worthy of doing something more. Ryan here, have a hey Ryan, I didn't realize I was listening to a presentation by Casey Moratori yesterday, and he was talking about how Lisp was developed at MIT's artificial intelligence group, I guess, in like a real long time ago. I had no idea. That's kind of cool. Yeah, very, very cool. I'm procrastinating on writing code this morning. Sounds about right. Yeah, Lisp, MIT, artificial intelligence. Yes, it was created by John McCarthy in 1958 and became the foundational standard language for AI research for decades due to its unique ability to treat code as data and its proficiency in symbolic processing. That's pretty wild, huh? I think that's like, given the current state of the world, right? It's kind of wild. KX EdX, how old are you? You look in your early 30s? Yeah, I'm 32. Yeah. Yeah, I graduated high school in 2011 or 2011, and then I graduated college in 2015. Joy PR, all right, thanks. Yeah, I'm not sure it's great advice, Joy PR, but that would be my game plan. Like if I really needed a job, like if I was in my current situation and I needed a job, but I couldn't get the exact job I wanted, the game plan that I would run would be to get a job that makes me money in some way, shape, or form.
Blackfire26299 is telling you to drink some coffee.
Thank you very much. And then I would just try to like work my way into the role that I want. Good morning, Wilo Gamer Pro. Good to see you. Ryan, yeah, it's one of the few languages that can write itself. Isn't that crazy?
Did we just become best friends?
Who was that? Was that someone on Twitch? I can't even say your name. It's just Hex. So thanks for the follow, man. I appreciate it. All right. Guess I need to try to do something productive now. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to set up the functionality for issuing our JWT. So at this point, we definitely have a user, and we definitely have their password. So now we need to issue their JWT. We're going to need a bunch of packages, I think, to do this. Or I might already have the packages, actually. I honestly feel like a litmus test on how worthwhile a language is to learn is whether it can write itself. Really? But like, what do you mean by write itself? Like, what does that mean? Lisp can write itself. Like, C# has source generators. Does that mean C# can write itself? See, I'm currently a sysadmin / customer support. I do Power Apps as well, so I don't know if companies will appreciate that or be impressed by it. I don't know if people will be appreciated or be impressed by it, but I definitely think it demonstrates an aptitude to be able to solve problems, right? Like build applications that solve problems. Obviously, I think if you want to actually work as a developer, right, or somebody who writes code for a living, you got to demonstrate like that you can build stuff with, you know what I mean? You got to demonstrate the ability to actually author software. But yeah, I think it's. I mean, I think anything that you can put in your back pocket that lets you talk about your ability to solve problems is useful. This hour is so early to
Did we
code.
just become best friends?
Brudda, wada. Let's see. This hour is so early to code. Are you on the Bay Area? No, I am in Kansas, Kansas City, Kansas. I'm in the middle of the United States. It is 5:09 a.m. Central Standard Time for me currently. Let's see. Do AI will take over software developer jobs? I think what you're asking is, do I think that that will happen, or is that more like a statement that you're making? Because if you're asking if I think that will happen, I don't think that's going to happen, at least while I'm still working. I definitely think AI is going to be a big part of what software developers do, probably, but I don't think it's going to steal everyone's jobs quite yet. However, if you think differently, that is totally okay. You know what I mean? Like we're all allowed to think differently on that one. All right, I'm going to start with just doing this in a token service. Yeah. Everything's a service anyways. Who cares? Let's see. Physical. Shut up, Copilot. I realize this is really small too. Make it a little bigger. Let's say internal class. Internal sealed class. Practice some defensive driving there. Token service. So we basically need to do two things. We need to once we're down here, first thing we need to do is generate an access token, generate a refresh token, store refresh token in DB, set refresh token in cookie, return access token to user. That. Let's see, I can create a custom logic that concatenates a string based on certain inputs and executes that string as code, and this can be done recursively. I wonder if you could do that in JavaScript with eval. Let's see, development is just going to change. Yeah, that's what I would imagine to Oblivion. That's what I think. I think like by the time between now and when I plan to no longer give a shit about working anymore, I would just imagine that the work of software developers changes a lot. I would not predict that it just like outright goes away, in my opinion. That would also be what my thoughts would be. Is it just me? I really hate that Windows is collecting too much data from me. Like, get the fuck out of here, leave me alone. That's why I use Linux. I think that's completely valid. Yeah, it's a completely valid concern. Schizo G, what keyboard do you have? It sounds so nice when you type. Oh man, I need to set up a command for this, don't I? I did this somebody asked me about this yesterday, and I had the link pulled up. Hold on one sec. I can link it to you. It's a pretty inexpensive keyboard. Yeah, this one right here. It just went on sale. Yesterday when we were talking about this, I said you shouldn't buy it at $80 because it usually goes on sale. It's pretty affordable and it sounds really good. I have this. This is the version I have. Is the red. Oh, I guess they don't make a red anymore. But yeah, this is the keyboard I have. So I'll just link it here. Copy link. Need to set up a command for that though. Let's see, that was on Twitch, wasn't it? Here we go. At skits. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you say it. You called that out about the keyboard because I have a
We
coworker.
can't see your screen, bruh.
Hold on, wait. You can see it, right? You can see the right screen. Oh, that's because you're on YouTube. Yeah. This is what I use. It's called a Yunzi B75 Pro. I'll put it in the YouTube chat too, just in case you guys are curious. I'm blind. That makes me laugh. It's a good keyboard though. I think it's pretty cost effective too. You hear about people who buy like those like crazy expensive keyboards. Let's see, Tishkar. I'm doing Java full stack development, but afraid about job because lots of articles say software development will be dead in a few years. You know, I think this is a very difficult thing to answer because it's very personal to a lot of people right now. I think what I would tell you is that I don't think anyone knows where this all is going to end up, Tishar. I don't know if there's the same amount of software development jobs. I don't know if there's more. No one knows where this is going to go. I will be fully willing to admit that the software development profession is going through a really big shift in terms of probably what it means to be a software developer. I think though that's still gonna I don't think that means that the skills of knowing how to build software are gonna just not become value anymore. I think they're just gonna be valuable in a different way. So I understand what you're saying. I hear your fear. I hear your anxiety. And the only thing I can offer, I guess, to counter that is just to tell you what I'm doing. So I'm a 32-year-old dad, a father of two. I have a wife who works part-time. Like, I am the economic driver for my household. It falls on me to provide. And I am not currently panicking, looking for an exit door. Right? So I guess I say that just to say that if I was really concerned about my job or the potential of being able to get a job doing the things that I do today, I would be looking for an exit door because the thing that's most important to me is being able to provide for my family. So if I really thought there wasn't going to be a job market anymore for my skills, I would be either going back to school or I'd be instead of sitting here on stream every morning for 3 hours figuring out how to get better at programming, I'd be sitting here figuring out how to become an accountant or how to become, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be working on something else. So I guess that's to say that my current bet is placed on software engineering still being a valuable profession in 20 years. That's where I'm currently betting on that. Doesn't mean I know that that's going to be the case, but I am currently betting on it. And then you kind of have to make a similar decision for yourself, right? And we all do. Like, none of us actually know the future, so we all just kind of have to place our bets and hope for the best, unfortunately. Good morning, Mark. Good to see you. Ryan, you're going to have to be a software engineer to be a cashier in 10 years. You'll have to argue with the cash drawer just to open it. That's hilarious. Not a bad price. It's really not. Yeah, it's a great keyboard for the price point and the sound, I think. Java full stack dev won't be replaced. It's not that easy, buddy. But AI will be integrated in the company level to co-pilot the developer as an agent, but not going to replace entirely for about 15 years. Yeah, I just don't. I don't agree with Dario Amade's predictions that like in 6 to 12 months the whole thing's going to be automated. That's my opinion. But I'm you know, like I'm like happy to be proven wrong though. You know what I mean? Let's do back over here. So we'll say var access token equals token service dot generate access token, and then we'll pass in our user. All right, this is where we're going to need our JWT stuff. So we're going to have a token handler. And this is a new JWT security something or other. This is not a package I have installed. So I need to go find this guy. I think it's in some JWT authentication package, I think. Same here. Instead of also quitting my current job like my colleagues, I stayed because this job feeds my family. Yeah, and I think currently it's going to continue to feed my family. If at any point though I start to think that it won't, you will see me move, and I will move very quickly in a different direction. And I will be transparent and honest with you guys. I'll probably still always do software development in my free time, but in terms of like my professional world, like yeah, I will make moves to shore that up. But right now I don't have that feeling. You know. Let's see, this is in system.identitymodel.tokens.jwt. Okay, but what package can I get it from?
MRK_Manansala is telling you to drink some coffee.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Tushkar, give some advice to, I think you mean grab a job in IT. That will be the roadmap that you want to suggest to freshers. I don't know if I have a good roadmap, man. Like my life has been built on doing very basic, simple stuff. Like I don't have like a really clever, well thought out, like I want, like it's like I wanted to get a job in the tech world, and I just started applying to tech jobs. Like that was, I wanted to get a job with my biochemistry degree. I just started applying to scientist roles. And I would just I would apply, and I would eventually get a call back, and then eventually I'd get an interview, and then I'd go to the interview, and I'd do my best, and just repeat that until somebody says, man, we're willing to give you a shot. And that's how it's worked every time. There's not been like a well thought out, clever, hacky life hack approach. It's just, so to answer your question, Tishkar, it's like, oh, you want to get a job in IT? Pull up Indeed, pull up LinkedIn, start applying. Now, there's definitely things you should do to set yourself up for more success, like have the right education, have the right experience, right? Have the right network. All those things can help you, right, increase your odds of that eventually happening. But I don't think there's some like special, like do this, and this, and then you'll get this. I don't think that's really how life works in a lot of cases. Like it's not like becoming a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant, right? Like in a lot of cases, these jobs aren't like check this box, then get this job. I just don't think that's the way it works most of the time. I wish I had better advice. I just don't. Haven't they been saying 6 to 12 months for the last 3 to 4 years? It's kind of like the North Pole will be gone in 5 years back in 1980. Yeah, I think, yeah, it's like the Primogen had some tweets where he was like, we are currently 12 months into well, we are 12 months in to software engineering being dead in 6 months or something like that. Yeah. BRB. Okay, Stefano, see you, man. Misha Haril, good to see you. Mark, man, to y'all off you finding a good app. Mostly it won't work. The best thing you can do is figure it out and do your best and apply. Yeah, it just takes a lot of hustle. I wish I had better advice, but I don't. See, busy. There are so many professions to replace first before software engineers. They are thinking the wrong way around when getting rid of professions, thinking coders are going to be one of the first. Yeah, I personally think thinking about using AI to replace people is the wrong way to think about AI. I know that the business folks love that idea because the business folks just see the people who do the work as a line item on a spreadsheet called labor that rolls up to a larger line item on the spreadsheet called overhead. And historically, a lot of that cost has been fixed in a lot of industries, right? It's not like in a lot of retail or manufacturing where you can actually manipulate your variable overhead in a great way. So in a lot of these, especially white collar professions where historically those salaries and those benefits and things have been this like fixed overhead cost for all of these businesses, I think a lot of these business peoples are salivating at the idea of AI because they're thinking, oh my goodness, for the first time I can start to replace or reduce the amount of people, the amount of fixed overhead I have in salaries and benefits. And I personally don't think that's the right way to think about it. But then again, I'm not a billionaire or a millionaire who runs super large businesses. Good morning, Voltaire. Good to see you. Okay, I think I need this. I think this is the package I need. Microsoft ASP.NET Core Authentication and JWT Bearer. Maybe not. Huh. There we go. It's right here. There we go. Okay, and now that we have our handler, we can now get our key. We're gonna need some options here. So we need a secret, obviously. So we're gonna have our key. This is gonna be encoding. Encoding dot UTF-8 dot get bytes And then we're going to need like a secret key or something. So let's do JWT options dot secret, which we don't have yet. So we need to set that up. So we'll do JWT options. And then we'll have internal sealed record JWT options set up. Is that not the right thing? Oh, I configure options. It's an interface. There we go. Then we know this will have a public string, which will be our secret. Getter, emitter. We'll have some other options there too. We're gonna have this will take I configuration. What? Hello, Happy. Good work, brother. Oh, thanks, man. I don't know if it's good, but it's definitely mine. What is the difference of JWT and session tokens? I don't know what session tokens refer to. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that idea, session tokens. The whole idea though behind a JWT is supposed to be so that you don't have to really do session-based auth. And refresh tokens are kind of a type of session. They're kind of like a lighter weight session, sort of, right? But the whole idea of getting away from session-based auth is so that you don't have to have this persistent thing that's in your database, and every time a user makes a request, you have to then hit the database to do checks to figure out, does this user have permission for XY thing, or is this user enabled, or is that, you know what I mean? The whole idea behind the JWT is you should be able to stick claims into the JWT, set an expiration on the JWT, and give the user that access token. And as long as your application can verify that token, then you use the information in the token to authenticate and authorize the person, which then allows you to avoid repeatedly hitting your database on every successive call. And refresh tokens allow you to somewhat, so basically you don't have to hit the database, but you still have a way to basically have a longer lived authenticated state. But you also have the ability to, like, if something was to happen, like if an access token was to become what's the word I'm trying to use? If the access token was to become compromised, it's short-lived, right? It's only like 3 or 4 minutes. And then the refresh tokens can all be invalidated because you keep them in your database. So it's sort of like a happy middle ground, in my opinion, between like session-based authentication and token-based authentication. And I think they all have their trade-offs, right? But you could also, like you're saying, you could also implement this with a session-based authentication strategy, right? Where you create a session for the user when they sign in, you stick that in your database, you set something in the cookie, you set something in a cookie, and then every time the user makes a request, you retrieve that session from the database, right? You could do something like that. Session token as in storing a user session in database. Okay, I think that's what I'm kind of getting at. Deep engine nerd, what are you building, bro? I'm building just a personal finance app. So at the end of the day, it'll just be an application that I can use to keep track of my net worth and my transactions. So if you ever used, there was a tool called mint.com that Intuit bought at one point, and that's what I used for forever to manage my personal finances. And then Mint went away, and I switched to this other tool called You Need a Budget, which is a really nice tool, but it costs $15 a month, and it has way more bells and whistles than I need. So I basically want to recreate a lighter weight version that's just for me. It's just a tool for me. I mean, it'll be open source, so if other people want to use it, right, they can, but for the most part, it'll just be serving my needs. Mark, I'll be taking note on that. Oh, okay, nice. Aren't JWTs what allowed hackers to view literally every Azure user's data? I actually don't know about that, Breach, but that sounds horrible. But yeah, I have no doubt that JWTs have been compromised at some point. I have no doubt that most authentication and security strategies at some point have been bypassed. Mark, yes, please. It is. So I've been pushing this up to my GitHub. So if you go to my GitHub, you should see the repo there. Yeah. Which is complete. I mean, what strategy you want to use for authentication, right? That's completely up to you. Most people would say like, don't roll your own auth, which is fine. I mean, that's fine. I understand why people say that. But I kind of like doing it. It's a good learning experience. It's a good way to sharpen your skills. Good reminder. I'm not protecting any mission critical systems at the moment. Oblivion, that was sort of right. Azure missed a certain security. Any registered user could query an endpoint or something along those lines. Eesh, that's a bad deal. That's a bad deal. That is no bueno. Okay, and then in our in our token service, we can then say, okay, give me an I options of JWT options. And then here we can say private read-only JWT options. Dot value. Okay. Now we've got our key. Also, let me just return an empty string down here for the moment so that stops complaining. All right, then once we have our key, we need to figure out what time this was issued at. So we're going to say, actually, I'm going to call this secret key. Secret key bytes. Okay, and then we're going to do issued at. Now this is where most people would do something like this. The problem with this, though, is it's not very testable. So what we want to do instead is we want to use the time provider API that they added, I think in .NET 8 or .NET. I can't remember which version of .NET they added this. People used to implement these things by themselves, but now there's one just baked in. So you can say, give me a time provider. And a time provider can be used to retrieve the time, and the time provider is also mockable. So if you're going to unit test this thing, we can control the time, which is nice. So we can do something like this, and we can say time provider, and I think it's get UTC now, I think is the method. Yep, gives me a date time offset. Nice. Deep engineered. Are they stored JWT in local storage or what? I personally, this is gonna set a lot of people off, and a lot of people are gonna have thoughts about this. I personally, if I'm doing a front end that talks to a back end, and that back end is authenticated with JWT, on the client, I will store the JWT in local storage. So the refresh token goes in an HTTP only cookie. The refresh token is the long-lived thing that you really, really don't want people to have. And then the JWT goes in local storage. Now, the reason why people say you shouldn't put JWT in local storage is because of cross-site scripting attacks. They say, oh, no. Hey, if someone can, execute cross-site scripting, they can get access to that token. And my response to that has always been, you are 100% right, but that token is short-lived. So if they get access to it, it's only alive for 5 minutes. But the other thing is, if that person has the ability to do cross-site scripting on my site, that means they can also just, who gives a shit about the access token, they can just make a request with the refresh token that's set in the cookies, right, to my backend and ask for a new token. So like if somebody can do cross-site scripting on your site, you're kind of hosed. Like there's just not really like, not putting your JWT in local storage is not going to really save you. If someone does cross-site scripting, like they're just going to initiate a request to get another token, whether they can get it in local storage or not. So I've always thought that was kind of a weird piece of advice. And also then I'm like, well, where else are you going to store it then? You're going to put it in another cookie? But if you put it in another cookie, the JWT has information that you need on the client. So the client has to be able to access the JWT on the client side. So that's my opinion. My opinion is put the refresh token in an HTTP only secure cookie, and then put the access token in local storage. That's what I've always done. Save it as a file. Yeah. I don't know. I've always just thought like, I don't know what the security folks want from me. Like if you're concerned that your site is going to be compromised by cross-site scripting, and therefore you don't want to put your access token there, I think you probably, I guess that makes sense if you're only using access tokens. Like if you don't have a refresh token and you're just using long-lived access tokens, that expire after 12 hours or whatever, okay, I guess I understand the advice. But if you have refresh tokens implemented alongside your access token, then I don't really see the harm in putting it in local storage. Yeah, what you said, Mark, is basically what I do. Well, wouldn't it give them access to other people's also stored in local storage? Yeah, I mean, if somebody can execute JavaScript in your site on the client, like, they can pretty much do what they want. Isn't that standard? I mean, in the meantime, Discord and its session token in plain sight. I think it's standard, but it's funny because whenever somebody, if you watch any tutorials or you watch anybody explain how to implement JWT authentication, they almost always will say, like, I'm going to put it in local storage, but that might not be like, they always hedge that piece of advice, and I don't really understand why they hedge it. To me, it seems like that's what you need to do. I'm not sure. I'm kind of curious. Does anybody know, like, what do you do for mobile applications? Because I've never built a mobile application. Where do you store things there? Because you're not really working in a browser, right? You're working in some native piece of application. I'm guessing they must have some solutions for this baked in, but I've always wondered that. Like, how does a mobile app handle JWT auth? I'll store it at local storage for now. Exactly. And they almost say that like it's like, don't do this. But I don't understand what else you would do. Oblivion, there's local storage, sort of like app data. Yeah, so it's like the same idea. SQLite or something. Okay. Yeah, I think it's kind of the same thing. But I know a lot of people I know if you probably go read OWASP, I'm sure somewhere on the OWASP website they probably say, don't do that. But I don't know. The other thing I like about using access tokens in local storage, in the context of a web app, is then your access token almost becomes a way to defend against cross-site request forgery, and you don't need to implement a whole separate system for that because your access token kind of serves that purpose. And then you can also avoid having to send the access token on every request. You can just send the access token on the requests that actually need to be authenticated. So that's how I do it. If anybody is willing to show me a better way, I'm obviously always willing to learn. Mark, man, you saved me some headache for my future projects. Well, this is just because I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, because I want to do the right thing, I want to do what's correct. And no matter how many times I thought about this, I always come back to the same place of like, yeah, I don't know. This just seems like the most straightforward, least effort way to go about this. All right, what am I doing? Oh, claims. Now I need claims. So I'll have a new list of claims. And for now, the only thing we're going to stick in here is just really the user ID. I'm actually going to flip this. I'm going to do list claim like that. As long as security is good enough, initially it should be okay. Yeah. I haven't developed for the web for a long time. Is local storage in this case on the client or the server? In this case, we're talking about local storage on the client, like the browser local storage is what we're talking about. Then we'll have our descriptor. This guy.
我不知道你是不是新来的，所以这次就放过你吧。在这个很棒的网站上使用。
Yeah, we're not doing that, brother. What a that's immediate ban. Hold on, I gotta get to my Twitch dashboard. I saw someone send it before. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I'm suspicious that you might be that other person. Yeah, I don't know. Seems kind of sus to me. Yeah, we banned him. He gone. What's up, Rockin' Brain? Good to see you, man. How you doing? Dude, I'm all over the place right now on my Windows. I'm not practicing good window discipline. Yes, good morning to you too, Mark Sus. Yes, it was very sus. It was very, very sus indeed. Okay, so now we need our JWT token, which is going to be token handler dot write token. Oh, I need to start SpeakerBot. Hold on. I don't want other people to miss out on their text to speech. I'm pretty good. How about you guys? Yeah, I can't complain, man. Life's good. I gotta go back to work today. Obviously, it's a Monday, but other than that, my weekend was very, very chill. Basically, the only thing I did was the only thing I did was really write code and work out and hang out with my family. So I cannot complain. Oh. I actually don't know if I need the username. I think I'll need that at some point, but I don't think I need that right now. Let's see, we'll just make it 5 minutes for now. Let's add that as an option, something we can configure. Say public int, and this is going to be expiry in minutes. Just default it to 5. What are we cooking today? We are working on we're working on authentication for this personal finance app that I'm building. Is what we're working on right now. And I need to shave. Just got back from a WC break, and I see a wall of Mandarin characters again. Yes, I know. We banned Umbrella Wada. And I love the series of messages that followed. Oh, sorry. Please don't ban me. I didn't know. Ban. Let's see. Being a dev, questioning your own thoughts, a metacognitive type. Sheesh. Yeah, you're always questioning your own thoughts. You know, you're always asking yourself, is this the right way to do this, right? Is there a better way to do this? And that's good. Those thoughts are good. But you also have to be careful not to let those thoughts overwhelm you, right? And get in the way of actually doing stuff, because 9 times out of 10, there is always a better way, right? But if you just constantly spend your time, you know, obsessing over that, then you never actually build anything, and then you never actually get experience. And so you have to, I think it's good to question yourself, but you also have to kind of be able to put those thoughts aside at the same time. Have we fallen again? We did fall again. Let's see, Danny. I just now finished watching your How I Learned to Code video, and man, it was so inspiring. Well, I thank you for watching that, Danny. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. A little story time. A little about me video. Laughed my ass off. Had to read that a few times to realize what you were saying. Steven, have you touched NAN tool before? I've not used NAN before. I've watched several videos of it, namely a couple by Network Chuck, and it looks like a kick-ass cool tool, man. Yeah, it looks like a very cool tool. It looks like a tool that could be a little overwhelming for some people, but definitely looks like a cool piece of technology. Let's see. Hey man, I really want to get into coding world again. I did a few web builds using React here and there, but always get procrastinated to do big real projects. Really need an inspiration or motivation? Well, I'm a big fan of, I think it was Zig Ziglar who said that motivation doesn't last. That's, hold on, let me see what the, let me pull up the quote real quick. Here we go. It's a Zig Ziglar quote that says, people often say motivation doesn't last, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. So I guess my advice would be try to figure out what's the thing that sparks that inspiration or that motivation in you initially. Try to find ways to try to cultivate that every day, right? And then my other thought is, My other thought is much more like hard-ass dad thoughts, but it's personally how I kind of think about this kind of stuff is like, fuck your feelings, fuck your motivation, stick to the plan, right? If you have a goal and you have a plan, you don't operate on what you feel like doing day to day. You stick to the plan. You do what the plan says. So, for example, like I want to retire early, right? And so to retire early, the plan says save this amount of money every month and invest it, right? And so, regardless of what I'm feeling, right? Like I'd love to have a new camera. I'd love to have a new lens for my camera. I'd love to have a new microphone. I'd like to buy a new laptop. You know what I mean? I'd like to take my family on all these different trips and vacations and stuff. Those are all things I feel and want to do, right? But like that's not the plan. So you have to you can't just make decisions on a whim based on how you're feeling on a given day. You got to stick to your plan and execute against the plan. So that would be my other thought is like if you want to build something ambitious, right? That project's going to take multiple days. So find a way to motivate yourself every day, and then if you don't feel like working on that project one day, that doesn't matter because the plan is to build the project. So sit down at the desk and put some time in, you know? That's how that's the way I think about it. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it's the way I think about it. I don't defend myself because no reason, but a fun thing I noticed while messing with some free open source software LLMs is in reasoning mode, they will think in Chinese and they respond in English. Quite funny. I wonder if Chinese compresses, and if so, by how much the tokens needed for reasoning. Well, that's wild. That's wild. It's wild to me that they can reason in Chinese tokens but output English tokens. I wouldn't have thought that was possible, but that's really, really cool. Sugatar, thanks for the advice, G. Really need to get shits together. If I had to guess, you're probably much further along and better off than you think you are. We're always our own worst critics. But if it was me and I wanted to build something, write it down on paper, put it in your notes app, stick it on a whiteboard, right? This is what I want to do.
Kelsey says, why do cows have hooves instead of feet? Because they lactose. You're welcome.
Good morning, honey. Good morning. It's already 6, huh? Damn. Today went fast. Today went fast. So as someone who's semi-fluent in Chinese, yes, Chinese compresses data significantly. Interesting. I know nothing about Chinese. And we need our signing credential. So we need a key, new symmetric security key, put in our secret key bytes, and then we specify our algorithm, which is going to be HMAC 256. Okay, I think that's everything. Issuer, expires out audience, signing credentials, write it to a token. I did notice there's a couple new tokens here. There's a new one here. There was a new, this one's create token. This one's called creates a JSON web token. Token handler dot create. Wonder what the difference is. This just creates, I guess, a generic security token. And that creates a JWT security token. I wonder what the difference is. JWT security token. I'm guessing one is newer and one's older. But let's figure out which one we're supposed to use in 2026. Let's see. JWTs. Yeah. Oh, I guess so. This is so you don't have to use a descriptor, I guess. Let's see. Create token versus. Let's see. Create token versus create. What was the other method name? JWT security token. Oh yeah, it's just older. So which one should we use? Let's see. In modern.NET, both methods can be used depending on developer's preference, but create JWT security token is generally considered a more explicit approach. Okay. So what will we need to change about our code to do that? So if I do create JWT security token, so it still takes a descriptor though, so why would you? It must have other overloads or something. Oh yeah, it has 3. So we have string, claims identity nullable, signing credentials, encrypting. Oh, so you can basically just pass all the stuff that you would normally stick in the descriptor. You can just pass it directly here. Huh. Okay. I don't really see a benefit then, other than just other than just calling it. Okay, the other thing we need to implement is the refresh token. So var refresh token equals token service dot generate refresh token. That. See you, Mark. Have a good day, man. Appreciate you. English has filler words that just don't exist in Chinese, such as the or, and, etc. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know anything about Chinese language. Refresh token time. So in here, we can pass the user as well. Let's go ahead and implement this. And this is going to return to us a refresh token. And this will be public. And this one can be actually pretty simple. This can actually just be see, var expires at equals time provider get UTC now. We'll say this expires in 12 hours. And we'll say UTC date time. This should probably be configurable. Let's see. I'm going to add a private const int refresh token expiry in hours. And then we'll do return new. And right now, we need to set the user ID equal to we also need a way to generate some token value. Chinese is highly contextual while English is not, simply because you have multiple words that sound the same, while English you have to be explicit and create the context in your sentence. That's interesting. How hard was it to learn Chinese? Because there's like a tonal aspect of it, right? Like Chinese, you have to, like, that's why Chinese folks have a harder time, right, with English, just because of like vocal cords. It's more difficult to create the sounds, or vice. I guess I should say also vice versa. Like you can basically, or the way I guess I've heard it described to me is like you can say the same thing in Chinese in two different tones, and it means two different things. Also, I'm speaking as a completely uneducated person on this topic, so if I say something stupid, please forgive me. See, I'm still learning. Yes, depending on the dialect, you can have up to 12 or 11 different tones. Wow, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. Talk about a complex language. Okay, and then we need the actual token. So we're just gonna do, I guess, public string token. That. Then we need some method to generate our token. And we'll just do something like this. Private string generate token. We will get some random bytes. Random bytes equals random number generator dot get. I think it has a get byte method. Yeah, get bytes, and we'll say give me 32. And we'll say var token equals convert to base 64. And we'll return the token. but it's possible that I might at some point want to use this token for other purposes. I think it's fine for now. I might want to use it in the future for something else, which means I might need to sanitize this more. So it's possible I need to change that. Like I think there's probably a world where I only want to have alphanumerics in this token. Like if I'm going to put it in a URL, like say I want to use generate tokens for like forgot password stuff. But we can cross that road when we come to it. Let's see, token equals generate token. Oh, and then we also need to add an expired. Yeah, we need to add an expired value to this. So public date time offset expires. Then we'll come up here, back to our token service, and then we can do expires at equals expires at. Also, this is something I don't know how people feel about this. This has been something I've been doing more and more. So we do a private refresh token, and then we add a public static method that returns a refresh token, and essentially we limit so we say from user ID string token date time offset expires at. Cannot implicitly convert. Oh, this should be a GUID. So now, in order to create a refresh token, we have to go through that method. So we have to say refresh token dot from. I stole this from Rust because I kind of like the way that Rust does that, where it says like where they have like colon new or colon from. I kind of like that instead of using the new keyword. I understand it's just kind of syntactic. It's half or dozen the other, but it feels nice to me. So then once we have our refresh token, we need to stick it in the database. So we need to store the refresh token in the DB. So to do that, we will call we'll call app DB context dot refresh tokens, and we will add async refresh token. And then await appdb context dot save changes. Okay. And if that succeeds, then we need to set the token in the cookie, and we would need to return the access token to the user. So I think we can just do something like this, where we say access token, and then this is the part, I don't even remember how I did this in previous life. We'll go look at other code. I'm guessing I think what I'd like to have is I'd like to be able to say like context dot yeah, I think I'd like to have something like this where it's like from services HTTP context and then do something like this: HTTP context dot response dot. Is there like a set? There's a cookies property. Yeah, pin. So I think I like something like set refresh cookie. Or
Welcome to the party.
Something like this. Hey, Uncle Pee-wee, thanks for subscribing to the channel, man. That's super nice of you on Twitch. That's way more generous than you have to be. Let me get you added to the list of subscribers. Estefano, how long did it take you to be familiar with Vim? I'm still getting familiar with Vim, man. I'm like 12 months into it. There's a chatter that hangs out my stream sometimes named Butterscotch. And he's always trying to remind me, like, hey, dude, you gotta use these, keystrokes to save yourself time. And I'm trying to work on getting better at it, but it just takes time. I think it just, like with anything, it takes reps and practice and dedicated effort. But I would say, if I had to say, like, when did I stop feeling so clumsy, it probably took me like 3 to 4 weeks of using NeoVim every single day before I felt like, okay, I'm not tripping over my fingers. I remember how to navigate up and down, left, right. I don't think twice about like switching modes as much anymore. Yeah, probably 3 weeks or so. Let's see. And do you think it's worth to switch to VimMotions in the long run? I do personally. I've said this before that I don't know if I'll always use NeoVim as like my forever editor. It's a lot of fun right now, right? But in 10 years, who knows? Or in 5 years, who knows? But the biggest benefit of using NeoVim for me has been learning VimMotions, because now I use VimMotions everywhere. I use VimMotions in Visual Studio. I use VimMotions in Writer. I use VimMotions in Visual Studio Code. Like, if I could, I would have VimMotions in Google Docs. I would have VimMotions in Microsoft Word. Like, I would like everything that's text-based to have VimMotions. It really has been one of the better parts of, one of the bigger improvements to my workflow in the last, 5 years of programming and coding every day. So I'm a fan. Doesn't mean that you have to, right? Doesn't mean you need to, but in my opinion, it's been a huge positive. Sort of out of the blue, but I'm now writing a service/website with Rust as a backend, trying to do it completely LLM free, apart from educational research, to build some confidence. will give updates. Dude, that sounds awesome. That sounds like a blast. An absolute blast. Panther Pigeon. I wish more apps supported VinMotions. Me too. Me too, man. I find myself now whenever I'm in like it happens to me probably once a week. Where I'll be in a Google Doc at work and all of a sudden I find myself spamming JK, you know? I was like, why is this not working? Oh wait. I'm in Google Docs. Yeah, so I feel you there, man. 100%. What was I doing? Oh, I was going to add Uncle Pee-wee to the subscriber list. Thank you very much, Uncle Pee-wee, for subscribing, man. It's very kind of you. And then I got a 1 sec chat. I'll be right back. I'm going to disappear into the void for a little bit. Wow, what a journey that was. I'm back though. Don't worry. It was quite a journey. But I'm here now. Okay. Set refresh token. Okay, so how did I do this in the past? I know I implemented JWT here. Server. There we go. Set refresh token cookie. That sounds good. Set refresh token.
Kelsey says that was scary.
Just went completely black. Okay, so then this will take our token and our expires at. So this will be string, or sorry, this will be refresh token dot token, and this will be refresh token dot expires at. Actually, let's just pass the whole refresh
Kelsey says
token
I was
in.
worried I lost you forever.
Gone to the void. All right, let's not worry about using a. We can refactor this. Let's just write the cookie. Let's just write it directly. Let's do cookies append. I'm gonna copy this. And then let's change this from Onyx refresh cookie. Let's call this physical OS refresh. And we'll say refresh token dot token. And then this is going to be, I think this needs to change to lax, is what this should be. I think at the end of the day, this is all going to be hosted under the same domain. I'm going to set this as none. Let's see, to do revisit once, to do revisit when decided on hosting setup. Oops. What have I done? There we go. So we have we generated the refresh token, we generated the access token, we saved the refresh token into the database. And then we return the access token to the user. And then the user can figure out what they want to do with it. I think that looks good. I think the only thing I want to probably change is response.cs. Oh, it's already 6:30. And this can be internal, sealed record, response, and we're going to give it a string, which is our access token. I think that looks good. So we should have a way to log in. Okay, so the only thing is now, in order to really test this, I mean, obviously I can write tests for it, which I will, but in order to really test this, I really need to have a way to put a user into the database with a properly hashed password, which is why I added this admin CLI tool, so that I can essentially have, instead of having like an admin panel or like an admin website, I just want the CLI so that I can just say like, you know, CLI add user, give it a name and a password, and then have that like hash the password and stick it into the database. Or at least that's my current thought on how to do this at the moment. I might change my mind. I'm getting giddy with how easy this Rust backend is to set up. That's awesome. What language are you using? I'm using C#. That's kind of my favorite. That's my favorite programming language. Also, good morning, Ayush. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. We can do commit, feature, implement, token, generation, and issuing on successful logging. Okay, a couple housekeeping things we should do real quick. We should update our app settings so that they have the options for JWT. So let's do that real quick. We need, what do we need? We need an audience. We need an
Ilmanian is reminding you to hydrate.
Thank you, Ilmanian. That's so kind of you. Looking out for me like that. Let's see, we got issuer. What are you making? I'm making a personal finance app. So if you've ever seen stuff like, have you ever seen like mint.com or You Need a Budget or Every Dollar? These are all applications that sort of help you like manage your money. and I currently use YNAB, which stands for You Need a Budget, and I pay $15 a month, but it's way overkill for what I want to do. All I want to do is I just want to see a list of all my balances, current amounts. I want to track that total over time. And then I just want to import all the transactions from my accounts, and I want to be able to categorize them, right? And then probably future state have some like reporting or visualizations that I can do about those transactions. But that's really as basic of an app I want. And so I think that I can implement and recreate that experience and save myself $15 a month in the process. So that's what I'm building currently. And I'm going to use, if you're wondering like, well, how are you going to get the information from your banks? I'm going to use a service called Plaid, which is sort of like it's sort of like Stripe, but instead of offering payment processing, it offers the ability to connect to your financial institutions to get data about your accounts. Omanian, have you heard about Moltbook? Yeah, I have actually. It's kind of a crazy story, huh? I was actually reading about that guy last night. Peter, what is his name? Peter Steinberger? Peter Steinberger. I think this is what you're talking about, right? It originally started out as Claudebot, and then it was Moltbot, and now it's something else. Is that what we're talking about? Or is this something different? Moltbook. No, it's that we are talking about the same thing. I guess this I haven't heard about. So this is a place, I guess, for your Molt bots to talk? Is that what this is? Fred, using Edge is diabolical in 2026. Really? You think so? I like Edge. Yeah. I was using Zen browser for a little while. For like, I shouldn't say a little while, for like 3 or 4 months. But then Zen browser just released a thing that changed how they do window and tab management. So I was like, I'm out. So I came back to Edge. My favorite feature of Edge, or the reason I like Edge, is because they have really nice support for vertical tabs out of the box. And at the time when I switched to Edge, that was something you couldn't do in Chrome without an extension. I don't know if that's still the case. But yeah, I enjoy Edge. But you don't have to enjoy Edge. That's okay. I get it. Good morning, Inspire. Good to see you. Oh my gosh, we were doing Moltbots. Yeah, he just brought this up, and I hadn't heard about this. So this is basically like a Facebook website for agents. Pretty Brave has it too. I've never used Brave. Yeah, I've never used Brave. I switched to Edge probably 3 years ago at this point, but I've never used Brave. I know people like Brave because it's pretty privacy minded, I guess, right? That's the selling point behind the Brave browser? Are you going to add AI in it? No. I don't have it. I won't. There's no features that I can think of that I would need AI in my personal finance tracker. The only thing I want to do in my personal finance app is I just want to have a place where I can centrally see all the transactions across all my accounts. I can categorize them, and then have the net worth tracked over time. This is all stuff that I'm currently doing today in spreadsheets. So basically what I do today is I go into YNAB, I refresh all the accounts, I export all the transaction data out of the accounts, and I bring them over into another system where I apply categorizations and do visualizations and stuff. And then I track the net worth manually. So I go into the accounts like at the end of every month, I get the totals, and I put them in this other system. So I'm doing this all manually right now, but I'm paying $15 a month to use YNAB so that I can get the transaction data, which hints the reason why I'm trying to replace YNAB with my own creation.
Kelsey
Estefano.
says he wants to be able to track my book buying issue.
Yeah. Well, and I got to also keep an eye on all my technology purchases. You know, we got if we're gonna reach retirement early, we got to keep an eye on all these monies. Inspire. I can give you some resources to get started. Are you talking about this Claude bot, this Molt book thing? Yeah. I honestly I think it's really cool. I have no interest though of giving an AI that much access to all my shit. I think it's pretty crazy people are giving it access and attaching it to all the things they're attaching it to. But I have no interest in letting AI have access to all that much information. Seems like a very easy way to leak some stuff. That's just my thoughts. But I'm glad people are having a lot of fun with it. See, no ads on Brave. Ooh, that's nice. That's a good selling point. Have you heard about Actual Budget? I think I have. I think somebody recommended that to me. Actual Budget. I think someone recommended that. Yeah. Yeah, yes, we looked at this. I think the one thing that was a drawback was I wasn't sure how well it would work for connecting my bank accounts. I think they support integration with a couple different vendors for that. See, because I don't want to do all the transaction and balance tracking manually. I just want to use an API to do that. And I think they support, yeah, they support Simple Fin Bridge and bank account data. These are the providers they support. And I don't think Simple Pin. Oh yeah, when we went to this website and we tried to find my financial institutions, they didn't support all my financial institutions. So this wouldn't be a good option for me, unfortunately. But it's a really cool piece of software. It's cool that it's open source. Plus, I wouldn't get to have all the fun of building my own, right? Yeah, absolutely not. I might go to the extent of running a local LLM as a smart home manager, but that's about it. Yeah, I'm just not interested in connecting my Gmail to an LLM and connecting my text messages to an LLM. And yeah, seems like a lot. I mean, I know like Google probably has Gemini trained on all my emails now at this point, but I'll just pretend like that's not happening for now. I think it's cool though. It's like I've seen a couple videos on people showing off their setups with Moltbot, or what? I think he changed the name again, didn't he? He changed it to like OpenClaw or something. Pretty sure he changed it again. Yeah. Which is cool. Yeah, I think that's awesome that people are getting after it. I'm all for people having fun and enjoying their time on Earth. However they choose to spend it. Yeah, Apple does that automatically already. Let's see. I have two options and both have their perks. Let's see. Also need an opinion. How do you usually make tough decisions like moving to a different place? Well, if I was single, and if I didn't have a family, the way I would make those decisions Inspire would be purely based on financial well-being and whether or not the decision's reversible. So like if the decision is reversible and doesn't have huge negative financial consequences, I wouldn't spend too much time on it. Like I would just try it, and then if I don't like it, go back. As a dad, though, now all my decisions are painted through the lens of what's best for my family. So that's how I make all the decisions now. It's like what provides the most stability and security for my wife and kids, and then what I want to do and accomplish kind of comes secondary to all that. Building your own tools is always a win, honestly. Yeah, it's always a win. It's always fun because like you end up with the experience of building it, and then you also end up with the thing you built, right? That's like one of my favorite projects from last year, or two of my favorite projects from last year that I built were I built a background removal tool that's just like a CLI that just strips backgrounds out of images. That was a lot of fun because I didn't want to pay for Canva. So I built this guy. This was a ton of fun to build. Again, like I'm solving a solved problem, but it's my own tool, and it was a blast to learn how to build something like that. And then the other thing I built last year that was a ton of fun was kind of a similar feature to Descript, right? I think that's the thing I'm thinking of. But basically what it does is it takes in a shorts or a stream, like a video of my stream, and then it chops it up into clips that I can that I can review and post. And both of those they were tools that I built to solve my own itch, right? And I got to do a lot of learning, and I ended up with a piece of software that I can use every day. So, agreed. Building your own tools is a W. Estefanzo, let's see. How come your name is Steven and not Steven? What's the origin? So the reason why my name is spelled funny is because my mom's name is Eva. And they thought it would be, I guess my parents thought it would be fun to stick their names and put it as part of our names. Like my sister's name is Erica and my dad's name is Rick. And so they spelled her name Ericka, right? And then they spelled my name Stevan. So that's really the only reason. I don't know if I should think poorly of that or positively of that, but that's the name. Yeah, that's where it came from. That's the origin story. That's cool. Yeah. I guess I'll never forget what my mother's name is. I don't know if she was worried about that or not when she made that decision. It's been kind of a pain, though, I will admit, for the last 32 years because people have always said it wrong and spelled it wrong. Oh, whoops. Here we go. Secret. And then I think the last one was expiry in minutes. Oh, whoops, wrong screen. My name is also Steven in English. Oh, very cool. Yeah, nice. My project has like so many bugs. 60% of my time working on my project is bug fixing. I don't. Oblivion beat me to the joke, but that was the joke I was gonna make. I was gonna say, man, you're productive. Yeah. Oh, for the YouTubers, she said. Someone said on Twitch. Someone said, my project has like so many bugs. 60% of time working on my project is bug fixing. And then another person said, Oblivion said, only 60%, not bad. Yeah, this I agree with. Oops. Okay, so kind of lost where I was at. So I was doing the JWT options. We've got the token service. We were updating the example development docs. We need to populate these. Let's see, this would be physical OS, API dev. This would be 5. And then we need to generate a JWT secret. Let's see. I need to create a little utility function in my PowerShell profile for this. Okay, so none of that's really secret. I'm only using that locally, so it doesn't really matter if I leak it here. And then, let's see. Let's open. Let's see. Let's use this is my Rust Notepad app. And let's open not my SSH keys. I want my PowerShell profile. Documents, PowerShell. Let's add a new function down here. And I guess let's call it function generate JWT secret. That's what I want to do. Save that. And then how do I reload my PowerShell profile? I have not added VidMotions in the Rust Notepad app. I have not. I haven't actually worked on it very much in the last couple of days. I didn't work on it at all yesterday. I would like to do it though. I think it's going to be kind of hard actually because the text editor that I'm using in the ICE GUI library doesn't support the block cursor by default. You have to implement your own block cursor. Yeah, you have to implement your own block cursor. So I don't know how like realistic or how difficult it's going to be. So we'll see. But I would love to have VidMotions in it for sure. Vashkosh, close and open. I don't know if I know what you mean there. Oh, you mean how to reload my PowerShell profile? Close and open? I think you can just do dot profile like this. And that will reload it for that current shell session. All right, is there anything else we need to do here? We have our app settings updated. We put some basic settings for the development. There was something I was forgetting to do though. Didn't we change? Let's see, chore, add example, JWT options, and example settings file. There's something I'm forgetting to do. Let's see, oh, I know what it is. So we extended these models, or at least we extended one of these models. So we need to go and update. We need to add a migration for that. So we should come into here. And we need to come down to our refresh token. And we need to say property t dot expires at and t dot token I think that's the only ones we added. Token and expires at, right? Yeah. I think that looks good. Now we need to use the EF core tools to add a migration. Let's see, we'll do .NET EF migration. And instead of adding timestamps, let's see, add props to refresh token. Man, that PowerShell profile is fire. I really miss ZSH at work. Yeah, ZSH is good. That's usually my default thing for Linux boxes is ZSH with OhmyZSH. That's usually how I set up the terminal on like the Ubuntu boxes that I host things on. And then we'll do .NET EF database update. Cool. And then let's just make sure that that did what we expected it to do. It's almost time for work. Amani, I'm thinking about the very first joke. I want to know what the person was thinking when they made that joke. You mean like the very first joke in human history? Is that what you're... What an interesting thing to contemplate. Yeah, we have ID, user ID, created that, updated that, expires that token. Nice. We have ID, cool. Tables look good. Good deal. So I think the next thing I want to tackle is I want to tackle a way to add a user. So that's the next thing we'll do. Or I might do that today, and it's already done when you guys come back tomorrow. Let's see. We need a way to add a user to the system with a properly hashed password. So need something like this. 1, ask for user name. 2, ask for user password. 3, hash user password. 4, save user to database. And then the nice thing should be, because the CLI is a part of my solution and because I refactored everything out into separate projects, we should be able to just leverage all the same logic. Like we should be able just to create a appdb context object and create the password hasher and then add the user. And I might also put that all into like a service so that all that logic is sort of coordinated together. That might be what I do. But that will have to wait for tomorrow because it is 7 o'clock and it is Monday and I must go to work. Let's see. Feature update refresh token. Sure. Add to do with pseudocode. SimWheel Connect, what IDE is that? This is NeoVim. It's not really an IDE so much as it is like a text editor, very extensible text editor. It's probably closer to it's probably honestly closer to something like Visual Studio Code. And Visual Studio Code is probably even a little bit more of an IDE than NeoVim, but it's closer to that than it is to like Visual Studio or Writer. But it's a fun way to work with code for sure. What TUI did you use to commit? Oh, this is this TUI right here is called LazyGit. I can put the link in the chat. It's made by a guy named Jesse something. He also makes a tool, Jesse Duffield. He also makes a tool called Lazy Docker, which is pretty cool. That's a TUI for managing Docker containers on the command line or in your terminal, which is pretty sweet. Who asked about the Estefano? There you go. I just linked that up for you there in the chat, Estefanos. Perit, NeoVim, by the way. Yes, it is NeoVim. Yep, NeoVim. I want to get some shirts. I want to get a shirt made that says, I use NeoVim, by the way. I think that would be a fun shirt. See you, Almanian. Have a good day, man. All right, guys. I think I have to head too. It is. The time has come. The end of my YouTube day. Forgot to lurk today. Oh, no worries, man. I'm glad you've been here, though, Duckboy. Good to see you, dude. Hope you're doing well. Check Charm SDK for Golang. It's great for building TUIs. Actually, I discovered... Oh, I dropped an orange. I discovered the... what is it called? Charm. I guess it's not Charm. It's called Bubble Tea, right? It's made by the folks over at Charm Bracelet. But I discovered their TUI because I built this, right? I discovered their library because I built this TUI. This TUI lets you do tier lists in the terminal. I'm very proud of this TUI. It was a ton of fun to build. I built it just so I could make a video with it. But yeah, it was a blast to make. Yeah, it's on GitHub. So if you wanna use it yourself, you can. But it's made with Bubble Tea, which is what Pre-Writ is talking about. All right, guys. Well, if you're new here and you want to come back and hang out in the future, I'm normally live. What's your bedtime to get up at 4? Typically somewhere between 8 and 10. Yeah. So somewhere between 8 and 10 is usually when I go to bed. Let's see. So if you want to come back and hang out on stream, the best place to find us is from 4:15 to 7 a.m. every morning, either on Twitch or on YouTube, whichever you prefer. Twitch is horizontal, YouTube is vertical. So pick your platform, pick your format. Doesn't matter to me. And then if you want to come back, or if you want to hang out with us outside of stream, the best place to find us is Discord. So I'll put that link in the chat. Discord.stephenfreeborn.com. All are welcome. Simwheel Connect. Give brief current project. So what I'm building currently on stream, and what I will probably be continuing to build on stream for the foreseeable future, is a personal finance app. So the application essentially allows me to manage my bank or keep track of my bank account balances and see my net worth over time. And then it'll also hopefully be able to retrieve all the transactions from all my different accounts, and I'll be able to categorize them. That's the end goal, at least. Aerobic. We're grown men. We don't have bedtimes. Well, I don't really have a bedtime, but I now have a time that I fall asleep at. When I get up at 4, it's kind of hard to stay awake too terribly late into the night. See you, Duck Boy. Have a good day, man. Appreciate you. But hopefully, Simwheel, that gives you an idea of what I'm building on stream right now. So yeah, lots of C#, lots of TypeScript ahead. We'll hopefully end up with a server that manages all the account data and transaction data, and then we'll also have a web client which can display and retrieve all that data. And I might at some point work on a mobile client for it, but that's probably a little bit of a stretch goal at the moment. But that's the plan. So come hang out. You don't have to like C#. You don't have to like TypeScript. You don't have to care about my app. You can just hang out and code along with me, listen to the music, listen to me ramble, listen to the conversation. We're trying to create kind of like a virtual coffee shop here in the morning for people who want to just chill in a cozy place, drink some coffee, and work on their projects. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, this might be a good place for you to hang out in the mornings, if nowhere else. All right, guys. I hope you all have a great rest of your, what is it, Monday? And if it's Tuesday for you, have a great rest of your Tuesday. And I'll see you guys here tomorrow morning. Alrighty. Bye, chat. Bye, Estefanzo. Estefanos. I'm going to get that right. I'm going to eventually start saying that correctly. Bye, Duck Boy. See you, Aerobic. See you, Simwheel Connect. Bye, Parit. Bye, Almanian. Anybody else still here? I think that's it. Bye, Oblivion. Good luck with your Rust backend. See you, Inspire. All right. Bye, guys. Bye, chat. Bye. See you guys. Appreciate you.